Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Professor and The Samp. Mama T, thank you for that beautiful bring-in. Another beautiful weekend is just passed and expired. Here we are, Monday morning. Professor, I missed you last week. You're extremely busy, man. How's it going, man?
Man, it's going well. It's that trying to keep that grind going and getting to have so many great conversations with so many different people that, man, even when I feel tired, I feel renewed as soon as I hit that record button and have that conversation. It's just been amazing. So,
I love that, man. It's the same feeling here. Soon, I could walk into the room here and sit down and feel heavy. But as soon as I open that computer and I start plugging it all in and making the connections, and just it feels amazing. And here we are, man. Listen, we missed last week, and I apologize to everyone who was, maybe looking forward to hearing us talk. But you know what? We're back. We're back.
yes, we're back, and that was more me than
No,
you.
no, no,
And
no, no. We're family, brother. If one
of
falls, we
course,
both fall, right? You
yes,
know,
sir, yes, sir.
I look at it this way: if I succeed, we both succeed. If you succeed, then I'm going to take some of that pie too, right? So that's how it looks, right? So at the end of the day, if you can't make it, then I can't make it, and that's just the way it is, man. And that's just the way family is, right?
Yes,
So,
sir, yes, sir.
should we talk Royal Rumble first?
Yeah, that'd be good. I think that'd be a good starting point.
So we've had the Royal Rumble. It happened in Saudi Arabia. Everyone thought the arena was empty, but it wasn't. I believe the guy who put up those little spotlights will probably end up getting fired because it made the place look completely empty, which is really
Yeah,
hard to imagine because these Saudis love it. And honestly, if the stadium was empty, I guarantee you those Saudis would have brought everyone, all the laborers, everybody in to fill up those seats because there'd be no
yes.
greater embarrassment to that regime of people, that country of people, to have an empty stadium like that. Especially
Oh, yeah,
considering you guys are getting WrestleMania next year.
definitely.
So, first and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, the stadium was sold out. It was not empty. Okay, let's start with that. Now, Barry, you said something really interesting in another conversation that I saw. I believe it was with us. As we led into the Royal Rumble. And you said the one thing you were kind of excited for was the women's Rumble because we would have to focus on the talent opposed to the ass and tits and all the exposure. And I'll tell you what, man, I went in with that kind of thinking, not that I wouldn't anyways, but it kind of was gelled more because you said it. And
Right.
the girls put on a great Royal Rumble again. Now, as far as the entire show goes, there were no surprises. Okay, really, there weren't. I mean, Brie Bella, sure, okay, that was the only surprise. But the biggest surprise for me was there was no Bianca Belair.
Yeah, I was disappointed with that, but I was hoping that that would turn into something here in the next month.
Well, I mean, we
And
have Elimination Chamber coming, so
right. And sometimes the best thing you can do is hold off the surprises because Royal Rumble, we always expect something, something, something. And they gave us a little, but it wasn't what we would necessarily want as a giant surprise.
can I
Brie,
talk about?
okay.
I want to talk about that very quickly here before we go any further here.
Yeah.
I did a show with Chance, the Samp and Chance pod. You can check that out on our channel over there as well. Cheap plug. Um, and if you go back and you look at the headline that I put out for the week, do wrestling fans need to grow up? Okay. Since WrestlePalooza, Triple H is saying this is going to be the biggest event. Okay. Then we went to Money in Bank, surprises galore. Then we got to SummerSlam. Wow, this is going to be bigger than bigger. Okay. And then we get to Survivor Series. Then we get to the Royal Rumble. Triple H still making promises. Surprises, surprises, surprises. Well, here's the surprise, guys. This is 6, 7 times that you've been duped to think that something's going to happen. So maybe stop thinking that things are going to happen when they're not going to happen. He's hyping it up. In my opinion, he's hyping it up for the fan that doesn't show up. He already knows we're going to show up. He already knows that we're going to come to the dinner table. He's trying to bring the people to the table who don't watch wrestling. And I get that. So for people to sit in their basements at home, wherever they, sit there, clicking away, being all angry and shit, people, wake up. Shame on you. Shame on all the wrestling fans who keep falling for it. Okay. Now, I'm not saying Triple H is right either. Stop saying shit, Triple H, if you're not going to provide anything. Fair?
I think that's
Just saying,
fair.
man. I'm just saying.
Well, I think it's fair in the sense of yes, we continue to fall for it, and we're conditioned to expect something. Now, is it right to do it every show? I don't think so. But what honestly, what do you want? Do you want the reverse of this is another show? You want to have that
You,
hype
you have to
about
hype
the
it.
show.
You have to hype it up. And because of the network that they're showing these shows on, you have to hype it up.
Right.
Okay?
Now,
You're dealing with Second Take. You're dealing with Stephen A. Smith. If you don't pump it up, then you got to.
right. Now, this is where the funny part I get out of this. And I never thought I would say this, but the ratings ESPN has been given has been right on point of the shows.
Yeah.
They've been disappointing. Now again, with and I think a lot of people are really more surprised that ESPN would say this considering they're in business with them and not fluff the what what's going on. And I love that because ESPN is like, look, yes, we're in business with you. Yes, we want to make money because we gave you all this money, but we're not going to sit here and try to fool the people. You got eyes. You can see. If you're a fan, you know how you feel about it. And if you don't, look at the comments. So I give ESPN a lot of credit for being able to say, no, that was a D show.
No,
Don't
no.
even go out your way to watch this. And so, with that being said, if you don't believe in your own show, how are you going to get anybody else to believe in it?
Well, that's it. And that's the problem, right? So I mean, but here, look, I'm gonna be honest, man. 2026, I've been happy with what the WWE has done. Okay. I'm not angry about it in any way. I think everything that happened at the Royal Rumble happened the way it should have happened for the most part. Okay. I thought the girls had a spectacular match. I think Liv winning was perfect, and I think I said it with you as well. That was my prediction. I predicted Liv. She's on a
Right,
trajectory. She looks great. The Judgment Day was basically about to be flushed down the toilet until she came back and brought it back to life. Right? Finn didn't do it. No one else did it. It was Liv on her own. She's absolutely amazing right now. She was the right one to win it. Okay. I have no problem with that. I think they did good by Lash Legend by giving her the rub the way they did to make her look really good. We want to see up and coming talent. This was the avenue to see some of these younger girls. So Ruka, this generation's Lita, probably better
yes,
than
yes,
Lita was, even in her prime, in my opinion.
yeah.
Right? So we saw a great performance by Sol Ruka, who's going to come up to that roster and kick ass,
Oh,
man. Right?
oh yeah,
You've got
definitely.
Lash Legend, who looks absolutely amazing, and for a big girl like she is, man, she's got something special. She can move. She's attractive, and I'm not saying that in a sexist way. She's complete. She's a beautiful,
Right,
beautiful
right,
woman who can move. Right? And
right.
that showcase for her was amazing. It absolutely was. Why aren't people looking at these details? You know why? Because we're not fucking casual fans, man. We're real fans who see what's actually going on. All right.
Well,
So if the real
and the thing, and I say this, the thing is, a lot of times, even with us, we look at different things, but even we tend to not really get the full picture. Now, I love what you said because honest, you were right on all of them. Even though one I didn't want uh uh
AJ
dang, I just blanked on the Judgment Day's leader.
Finn.
No, no, who won the women's?
Oh, Liv.
Live, excuse me, live. I didn't want it because it was too obvious. Again, that's just the the wrestling fan in me. It's
Sure.
like she was gonna get the title shot anyway. Let's come up with a different way of getting her the title shot while uplifting newer talent. But
I get that.
but but you are again 100% right. Liv has never won it. That's helping her cement her legacy. I'm okay with that. The women, different spots and stuff were pretty cool. Now, the Bella twins. I've never been a fan of the Bella twins. I
Sure.
always, always thought they were overhyped and never delivered personally. But as soon as I saw her, I was like, okay, they're the tag champs. They probably win it at WrestleMania. But that
Maybe.
okay, that's fine. Go if we can get them, get the titles, get a quick run, and get the hell on. I'm happy with that.
And that's what that is. And that's basically what that is, right? I mean, it is what it is. I mean, look, I'm
Yeah,
happy with it because okay, let's move on to Gunther and AJ. Phenomenal match. And pardon the pun. The match itself was so good. Like, like we shit on Gunther like nobody's business, but this man is amazing in that ring. Like no one, like honestly, dude, just he's amazing. And you put him with
I've
AJ, those two had an amazing match. It ended the way it was supposed to end. And if you looked at my comments, I don't know if I put them anywhere that you could have seen them or not, but I did say, so this is what John Cena should have looked like. This is the way that John Cena should have gone out. The way AJ retired, the way AJ did it all, the comments and everything on Raw and all the things that we saw after, was the way that John Cena should have gone out. We didn't hear from any of the wrestlers on saying goodbye to John Cena. We haven't seen any of those kind of segments, right? But AJ going out the way he did and not taking his gloves really opens the door to that hypothesis that I put out there that he's going to go to TNA.
I I I
Dude, why
honestly
not?
do not see him in TNA. Would it make sense? Yes. From a story perspective and his history, yes.
To
The
also build
main
up
reason,
AMC. Also to build
well,
up AMC.
but see, here's the main reason why I don't believe he's going.
Okay.
It's a slap pretty much in WWE's face.
Yeah, but WWE
That
owns TNA anyway, so
I mean, but that's the thing though. If if he's going to TNA, why couldn't he have went under a WWE contract where they had more pull with his
if he
character and
if he
what
goes to
he's going to
TNA,
do?
if he goes to TNA, it would probably be under a WWE contract, in my opinion. If he were to go, if he were to go
Right.
to TNA, he could word it in such a way where he says, "Hey, yeah, I said I was retiring, but I'm retiring from WWE, but I'm coming home." You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And and and
And then and
that's
I
why
agree
he
with
explained the
that.
glove thing, right? You leave that
That
door open when you didn't put your gloves. You put your gloves back on.
and I agree with that 1,000%. Um, and then the other big thing, he's going to AEW to have the dream matches that he can have before he fully retires. Him and Will Ospreay, him and Kenny Omega. I mean, just those two alone would just tear a house
Hey, look,
down.
and it would, but the only match that would be good would be him and Osprey because Omega can't move anymore.
Ah, I have to disagree with you there. He
Okay,
still has something and he
he
puts it on
does.
when he needs to put it
He does,
on.
but he didn't look great against Andrade, in my opinion. I'm sorry. Yeah, I actually watched Dynamite a bit. Uh, I'm just saying, you can tell that he's slowing down.
Well, of course.
Okay,
And,
and AJ's still not that slow. AJ can still go. That's the thing, right? Like, I mean, you could say that AJ's really lucky that he's retiring in the shape that he's in,
yeah,
and retiring with the body and the you know the look. He's not hurting. Okay, how many guys can retire from this game and not be hurting?
that's true.
Right?
And again,
So
I say when Kenny needs to, Kenny does. And
yeah, yeah.
and that was a television match.
Yeah.
And it really makes a difference when you're doing a TV match versus a pay-per-view match. Because when you do a pay-per-view, you can let it all fly.
Honestly, the match that I want to see is a triple threat with Finn Balor, Kenny Omega, and AJ, the battle of the
The
Bullet
Bullet
Club
Club leader.
bosses.
Yes.
Okay, because neither three of these men ever were able to be in the same screenshots as they took over the club,
Right.
right? So that would be really, really fun because I mean, Finn left when AJ took over, and then when AJ left, that's when Kenny took over,
Right.
right? So it's kind of I would love to see that. But look, I have no problem with the Gunther match. I thought it went the way it was supposed to go. Gunther looks great. You now have a solid, real heel. Okay, not a stone cold heel, not a half the fans love you, half the fans hate you. Everyone hates Gunther. He's
And I
achieved something. He's achieved something that's harder to do in wrestling today than being a good guy or anything else. Is being a heel. At one time, being a heel was really easy.
well, and see, that's the thing too. They screwed Gunther up last year. They botched him.
Oh, they totally
So,
botched him, but they brought him back good.
well, that's what I was gonna say. They're giving him the second chance that he deserves,
Yeah.
and they put them in the position to really solidify himself because now look, they were talking about some. I heard somebody say this, and I thought to myself, you know what? That's crazy that I didn't think about it. He has people he can retire. Look, what if Gunther takes on Ray for to get rid of Ray?
I mean,
I,
this could be his trajectory. He could do what the Legend Killer couldn't do,
right.
right? I mean, I've kind of plotted it already. I don't know where he goes from here to Royal Rumble or from Royal Rumble to Mania. I really don't know, but I have a feeling, based on what Brock is saying, he wants to leave by SummerSlam. You retire Brock. You got
Yeah,
that program right there. I think
exactly.
I think Oba versus Brock makes more sense for Mania, right? And that's just my thinking. That's my opinion. But again, if you want to keep Oba strong, I don't know if you want to put him in that spot. I don't know if you want to put Gunther in that spot with Brock. So I'm not sure where they're going with any of that yet. Right? We still have time to go
Right.
with that. All right, let's move on to depressed Sammy now versus Drew McIntyre. Another stellar match, another really good match. Right guy won. I have no problem with that. But based on SmackDown, you got a guy who's sad now in Sami Zayn. So I don't know how they're going to play that story out.
Right off the rip, I knew Sammy wasn't winning. Um,
No,
but this puts Sammy in the position that Sammy excels in.
sure.
And this, you have time this year to get Sammy that world title win, even if it's the world or the WWE title. This puts him in the position that fans love Sammy and that underdog, gritty, he's got to do it role that Sammy excels in. And it gives time to continue building him and takes him out of the main picture for a while and let all these other things take place. I I predict before the end of 2026, Sammy will be a world champion.
Right. And if it is, it is. Congratulations to Sammy. I know a lot of people are going to be angry, and I'm sure we can probably do 6 shows just based on how angry everyone is when that happens. So, until that day comes, let's see where they go with Sammy. He's playing the depressed role. I think it's time for a change in character again. I think he needs to go to the dark side for a little while until Kevin Owen comes back. I think Kevin Owen will be his salvation. Kevin's been away for almost a year now.
Yeah.
So he's due back hopefully pretty soon, if not in the next few months. So I think we're going to see something there with that. But yeah, the right man won there. But let's move on. Let's move on to again a Royal Rumble with no surprises. But the only surprise was that Braun Breaker got eliminated. Now I don't know if that was record time, because he came in and Oba just kicked him out right away. So I don't even know if he lasted 5 seconds.
No, it definitely wasn't record time. No, there won't be anyone to be able to beat 2 seconds.
No, 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 I know what you
Everything
mean.
has to
I
be
know what you mean.
perfect.
Now, here's what
Right.
I liked about it. Okay, you know when the Masked Man first showed up, we all knew, oh, it's Theory, and that
Right.
sucks for us because we know everything. Right?
Right. Right. Right.
They're doing this right now because none of us really truly know. We all have our theories, we all have our hypothesis, but no one really knows who that was. Okay, I believe it goes into two directions: an inside job by the Vision, or it's Adam Pierce retaliating against him. I was just saying, why not?
If it's Adam Pierce, I'm not even gonna lie to you. If it turns out to be Adam
Oh, no,
Pierce,
no, no, not necessarily.
no, wait a minute. Hold on. If it turns out to be Adam Pierce, I will pop. That would be my biggest pop in the world because look, guys, girls, if you do not know what type of wrestler, I mean wrestler,
Former
that
NWA
Adam Pierce
champion.
was, he was an NWA World Heavyweight
There
Champion
you go.
4 different times.
Yeah,
He kept that promotion on his back.
him and Nick Aldis.
Yes. So again, I would be great with that. But
Irony, eh? They're
here's
both the general managers too.
I know, right? But here's the thing where I don't like
Sure.
two things. One, it buries Braun. Braun was on the streak, and he was positioned to take that world title. Now we're going to move him out of that because this was to move him out of the way for Roman and Punk. So now all this momentum he has built is going to crap. Now, will the storyline be good? It may be great, but people are not going to be happy because you don't have a young, hungry lion being a world champion.
Okay. 99% of the time, I always agree with what you have to say, but I'm going to go against you a little bit here today. I don't think it
Okay.
hurts Braun in any way. If anything, I think this will even be better for him. Now, when I said Adam Pierce, I wasn't saying necessarily him being the guy under the mask,
No, no, no.
which would be
I
good,
understood
which would be
that.
good. I almost have a feeling, what if it was Pat McAfee doing it on his behalf? You know what I mean? Something like that,
Right,
right? Because he did kind of have issues with him as well while he was on the commentating table, right?
right.
So you have that kind of playing there. On the other notion of it, it's him and Logan. Okay, it was in my honest opinion, that was Logan under the mask at the Royal Rumble. Okay, it may not necessarily be him when they unveil him, but it was him who did the attack. Now I'm Oh God, how do I explain this one, man? Because maybe I have too much time on my hands or not, but I didn't have much to work off of, so I worked off hands. Okay, I looked at Logan's hands and I looked at the hands of the guy in the mask, and the hands are very similar in my opinion. Because the hands were the only thing exposed. Nothing else was exposed. Okay. You look at the fingers and everything, they look like Logan's hands.
So somebody put up a picture
And with
of
the beard and all that.
yeah, and they put up another picture, and I was like, "Oh my God, they may be right on this one." Grayson Waller.
Well, I threw that one out there as well, but it doesn't make any sense for Grayson because
Well,
he
no,
really
but no, I understand that, but like you said, it could be whoever they want it to be. But the
yeah.
guy who did that, that was Waller.
Yeah, possibly. No, no, that could be possible as well. Him and Logan have the same kind of structure, right? Logan's a bit
Right.
wider, a little bit in the
Uh-huh.
shoulders, but they have the same height and structure. I can see that completely. The other thing was, if it is Theory, he's doing it for Seth,
Yes, yes.
right? Because let's look at this. What happened in the Bronson Reed fight against Ray? Theory was hesitant to help Bronson. He was just kind of hanging out on the apron. It was Logan who jumped up onto the apron and took the shot on Raw to kind of, um, show that solidarity where Austin Theory really did it. So if we're reading
Yeah.
into stuff and if we're looking for little details, maybe he's doing this on behalf of Seth because he was Seth's right hand man when they blinded Ray in the Power Dome or the Thunderdome era.
True. And it makes so much sense because Seth is what they call, he's a visionary.
He is.
He's he he did the Shield.
Yeah.
He is he is the modern day Triple H.
Yeah. No, he
He's
truly is.
masterful.
He's that guy, right? I mean, if you think about the
Yes.
Vision is a knockoff of Evolution.
Yep.
Okay. The guys replaced in that group would be Ric Flair now being played by Paul Heyman and
Yep.
Triple H being played by Seth Rollins. I get that.
Exactly.
That's totally what it is. I totally get it. Okay, so that started off the Royal Rumble. And that was the only surprise of the night, in my opinion. Nothing else was.
Well, and you hadn't mentioned this, and
Please.
Powerhouse Hobbs
Oh yeah, we didn't
debut.
get there yet. We didn't get there yet. Royce
Okay.
Keys, man. Forget Powerhouse Hobbs. See, this is another. I know I'm taking a lot of shots at AEW, but after the name change, now I'm invested in this guy. How can I be invested in a guy called Powerhouse Hobbs when all I think about is Calvin and Hobbs? When you look at a guy and he comes out and says, "I'm Royce
Uh,
Keys," doesn't that make it more believable?
I well, see now I'm one of those people.
Sure,
Once you have a name and then you go to a name change, it's very hard for me because I'm so used to calling you your previous name.
sure,
So that is one of the things. But one thing I definitely enjoy about all of this, that you have people coming from AEW that are making a splash in WWE and vice versa. And it gives us, the wrestling fans, so much things to look at and to enjoy. You don't have to be tribalistic to enjoy someone going to another promotion and starting over. You don't. Like in AEW, the Rascals showed up. I love that
sure.
because now it's a new stage. Many people may not know these guys, and they get to basically start fresh.
No, no, and that's awesome. And the emergence of Royce Keys, the emergence of Oba Femi onto the scene. I mean, Oba's already been there, but to have him
Right, right.
to be dominant the
But
way he
as
looked and
right,
whatnot, that standoff with him and Brock looked absolutely amazing. Right. I mean, that's a fight that I want to see, even if it's on the street or whatever. I think those two would just have a lot of fun together. Uh,
yeah,
but Royce Keys coming out, he looked the part. The name suited him beautifully. The graphics behind him when he emerged, they did a great job with him. I wonder if they had to pay AEW any money to use the Powerhouse Hobbs in the beginning.
uh, who knows?
But that was
But
kind of
like you
interesting, right?
said, like you said though, it was beautiful. They showed the name, exploded. Whoever came up with that idea, you need to get a raise
Yeah, I know
because
it
that
was
was
done.
beautiful.
It was done really, really well.
Yes, it was.
I thought the Royal Rumble itself flowed beautifully, and I don't have a problem with Roman winning. I don't. I personally don't, because right now I think what we're going to start to see now, and believe it or not, this is something that maybe some of the kids don't realize, that the World Heavyweight title and the WWE title at that time were so interchangeable. When one became the more popular title, the main title of the show, opposed to the other one. Now we're seeing the transition where the WWE World Heavyweight title, which is probably the old school belt, the one that Punk has right now, the real belt, right?
Right.
If we're looking at Big Gold, and if we're looking at the WWE title, that one that Punk has is the real belt. In terms of no, in terms of who's held it throughout history.
Okay.
It,
Okay.
Hogan is tied to that belt for most of his career. Okay. Shawn Michaels, you know what I mean? You get the gist of where I'm
Right. Right.
coming from,
I get.
right?
I get what you're going with it.
Where the Universal title kind of emerged on its own. And Roman elevated to the point where the WWE title was secondary. I think we're going to get that transition now where the where the WWE title is going to be the main title of contention now.
I can
And
see that.
I think Roman wins it. I think this is good, and Punk can't be upset because if you're fighting Roman Reigns, you're actually going to be fighting on night two, which is the real main event for me. No disrespect
Right.
to anyone who says that night one main event. Yeah, it's a main event for night one, but the real main event is night two,
It,
the match that closes the show.
of course. I mean, and
He's getting that opportunity.
right. And that's what I would say he wanted. He wants to be the top headline. I mean, who wasn't?
No, and
And to fight Roman, you you're arguably fighting the man for the last 5 years.
there you go. So
So
you have that, and you put it back on Roman, and I don't have a problem with that because I know I'm already rebooking. I'm already booking WrestleMania 43 in my head or 44, whatever Saudi's going to be. I believe it's going to be Roman versus Brock at that WrestleMania. Okay, because what Brock, sorry, not Brock, sorry, Braun Breaker at
Braun,
WrestleMania. The reason I'm saying is because I believe, and I'm fantasy booking, but I think we're going to get Logan Paul versus Breaker at Mania this year because the Masked Man is going to cost Breaker at Elimination Chamber. Somehow Breaker will be in that fight, I believe. Masked Man's going to come and cost him the match there, and then it'll be unveiled that it was Logan all the whole time. And then you get Logan and him, and you get two young, up and coming superstars. That's what you want. That's going to be a great fight right there. That will solidify Braun Breaker as your new babyface, and we get to see the transition of the guy who's potentially going to carry this company now.
interesting.
I should write for them, shouldn't I?
I and I think this is what I had to remove myself out of and to relook at things. We are at that point. We continue saying, "Where's the young guys? Where's the young guys? You need the young guys. You need the young guys." You can't just throw them in something. You have to build them.
This is what I'm
And
saying.
exactly what you're saying. You're building that legacy.
See, that
And
didn't happen overnight, people.
right, right. And you're exactly right. It's
Cena almost got fired if you guys don't remember, little kids. Okay, no, let's be honest. Like everyone's, oh, Cena. Yeah, dude, let's be honest, man. This guy almost got fired if he wasn't
yeah.
freestyling with the boys in the back of the bus. Okay, not to say that Thugonomics character was going to be anything great or was going to be the face that runs the place, but he evolved into that guy.
Oh yeah.
And that's
And
how it works. When you shove
and
it
the
down your
funny
throat,
thing and the funniest thing about this, if it and this one is a true legitimate fact. If it wasn't for Stephanie McMahon
yeah,
hearing Cena do this, Cena would have been gone.
I'm telling you, you're right.
And it's so amazing on some of the things and and the reason I said it like that is it's not a joke like we say Stephanie created women's wrestling. No, she legitimately heard Cena and she's like, that's you need to use that.
Yeah, but
You
I don't think, and we're going off on a tangent here, but I don't think Stephanie, I'm glad you brought this up because I don't think Stephanie gets enough credit for the things that she's actually done for that company. She doesn't. Everyone shits on her so much. Oh, Triple H's wife. Oh, nepotism, this and that. Man, let's focus on some of the good that she did. Okay. If it wasn't for her, and I don't care what anybody says, if it wasn't for her, we'd still be having fucking pudding matches for the women. We still having bra and panty matches for the women, no matter how good these girls were.
yeah.
She
Yeah.
elevated the women's division to the place that it needed to be. I don't okay, all the women played a role throughout history. I get that, right? And when
Right.
you talked about the Bellas, they're underwhelming. That whole group of women that was a part of that generation were underwhelming.
Well,
Okay.
I would say all but two.
Well, no, I know the two that you're saying, Lita and Trish,
Right. No,
right?
say again.
Lita and Trish.
No.
Okay, who?
I was sitting there thinking about Beth Phoenix, Mickey James.
Okay, no, you're right, absolutely. But before that, it was Lita and Trish,
No, exactly.
right?
Once they let, 100% with you.
Yeah, you're right about Beth and Mickey James. They, because those two, Lita and Trish, respectfully, were on the way out at the time these other girls were coming in. So
Right.
really, if anything, it was only Beth and Mickey that really took what they were trying to accomplish and carry on with it. But the Kellys and you know what? I'll even look. I love what Layla and Taker's wife. What was her name again? Uh,
Um,
you know what I'm talking about?
Michelle Cool.
Michelle Cool, Lay Cool,
I mean, I say Michelle Cool, but
Michelle
Michelle,
McCool, Michelle
yeah,
McCool. All right. I mean, they were kind of cool. They had a lot of fun, but it was still a divas thing. It was still kind of soft, right? The only two women out there and Natty, we got to throw Natty in there,
oh yeah, yeah,
right?
definitely Natty.
Natty, those three women kind of did it. But like I said, if it wasn't for Stephanie at the end of the day to legitimize, and it's sad that it took 50, 60 years of women's wrestling to get to that point, right? And
Yeah,
she legitimized it. Without her, we're not seeing the matches that we see in AEW.
yeah.
I
Well,
no, I promise you, it wouldn't have been.
well,
We would not have seen the color that we see color. What's her name?
I will say this. I will say this, and then I think we need to get back on track. But I will say this: if we looking at women's wrestling as a whole
Yeah,
and everything that's went, you cannot say women's wrestling wouldn't be that without Stephanie. But who had it before Stephanie? TNA. TNA legitimized women's wrestling.
fair play, brother.
But
Fair play. You're right.
I understand what you mean as far as the a worldwide view, because
Yeah, yeah.
let's face it,
Now
if
you're completely right.
WWE,
You're completely right on TNA. I have to give you that. But you know what? In my defense, I'm not usually one to make my own defense. I didn't get TNA at that time.
right, and that's my point, and that's where I was going with it. Now, WWE is the top one. There's no argument. If you can really sit here and try to argue that WWE is not number one, I I'll do respect, you're ignorant.
No, no,
Now,
no.
with that being said, I understand the point you're saying that Stephanie helped bring it to a global thing, because if WWE doesn't do it, a lot of times it stays either underground or nobody knows.
Yeah. Well, I think, just with that, and we're going to move on here from here, but very, very quickly, not just the women, but there's a lot of stuff. Example, John Cena, like we just talked about. There's a lot of other things that she's done backstage to elevate other talent that people do not know
No,
about, man. And,
exactly. And
and
and fair to I mean, being fair to her, she doesn't try to push herself on.
no,
She
she
just
doesn't.
does what she do. People, if and look, a lot of people dislike her. I look, I admit I dislike her, but it's the character and what she portrays.
Okay.
That's why I dislike
Well, next
her
week, okay, okay.
as
Yeah,
herself. I don't have a problem with it, and I thank her for what she's doing and think
absolutely.
it's great. She's going in the Hall of Fame.
No, and for sure. And the fact that you dislike her as a character means that she did a great job of what she was supposed to be.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. So Roman wins the Royal Rumble. Everything is everything. They blew 10 to $20 million worth of fireworks after that. Um, I went to the washroom. I came back. The fireworks were still going on. I went grocery shopping and I turned on the TV. The fireworks were still going on. I watched a movie. I went to bed. I woke up the next morning and the fireworks were still going on. Wow. I wish they would have given me $1 million worth of, instead of the fireworks or something. That's a lot of fireworks, man.
Yes.
Look, overall, I had no problem with the Rumble. I give it a high B. I won't give it an A. Okay. Because again, didn't get what they wanted. And here's the thing, Barrett. Let me ask you a simple question. If you think about surprises in the Royal Rumble, Okay. It made a lot of sense when we were getting them at the level that we were getting them because all those guys were still around and could still move. We talk about wrestling is in transitional phase in the WWE where the new talent's emerging and this and that. It should be about 4 or 5 years before we start getting the real surprises again because most of those guys are still on the roster or on their way out, and it's going to take a little time to rebuild up that stock. You can't bring out Tito Santana anymore. You can't bring out the Honky Tonk Man. You can't bring out Dory Funk anymore. I'm just saying, it just
Well, Dory, you can still bring out.
you could,
He's
but you know what I mean, right? Like in terms of actual surprises, the only surprises that we can see maybe next year is AJ or something like that, or Cena.
well,
It
unless I will say this. The only I know I'm gonna get some heat for it, but the only surprise that anybody really cared for didn't happen was Jericho. Nothing
and
else mattered.
so shall we move on to AEW?
Yes, let's
I
do
think this
that.
is a beautiful transition. Why wasn't Jericho there? I'll tell you why. Because he is still under contract with AEW. Okay.
Yes.
They have done what the WWE did to AJ Styles when he was injured. They tacked that time back onto his contract. So Tony Khan, aka Ron, we'll get into that a little bit later here, is basically being a big baby. Instead of releasing the guy, and I get contracts are contracts, right? So does that mean he has to come back to the show in some capacity or sit in catering in order for his contract to run down? Like, how does this
I,
work? How long does this stay
I
for?
well, it goes back. This is the argument that goes back to WWE, and it's
They've done it
funny.
too. They've done it.
What no, and what I was going to say, what's funny about it, it's amazing how people can justify one thing but shit on the other thing, and it's the
Exactly.
same thing.
It's totally the same thing.
Basically, yeah, and basically, I get it. Why I get
Work
the
on
fact because it's a business thing. Why do I want to let you? You hadn't fulfilled your contract. Why do I want to let you leave and then hurt me with my competition? But in the same token, you know, and I'll be honest, I was one of those people who like WWE ain't doing shit with them. Let them go. Let them go. Let them go. But now, since this is happening in AEW, I'm like, well, it's a business. You got to follow you. So again, where I talk about people being hypocrites, I'm one. I admit that. My thing is first and foremost, if you want to leave, I'm not gonna hold you. I just rather let you go. But here's my thing too. It's an easy thing. Okay, if you want to leave early, this is how much your contract we were gonna pay. You reimburse us that, you can go.
yeah, no, well, they're doing the same thing to Britt Baker.
Yeah. Well, see, it's so many different things going on, and people because look at who is it? The one that fought Britt Baker in the hardcore match. Mm.
Oh,
I
what's
don't
her
know
name?
why I forget people.
The what's her name? She's the Mexican girl.
Yes. Uh she's been out again with injury.
Exactly.
And so again, I get the point. I'm paying you this money. You're not working. You don't like what I'm doing. You want to leave. I get that.
Yeah.
But why do I want to be a charitable, give you just your money and you didn't earn it? So either one or two things.
Yeah.
Either you're going to stay with me to the end, and if that costs you your time in it, so what?
Hey, look,
Or
I mean, contracts are
or
contracts. I
if
completely
I'm gonna
get that.
let you go,
Yeah.
okay, look, we this is how much we look at. We owe you. You give us our money, we'll let you go. I
Yeah.
think that's fair for both parties involved.
No, 100%. I completely agree with that completely. So, I mean, that's why Jericho wasn't there.
Right.
Okay, that's legitimate reason, and everyone crying bloody foul and stuff like that are the same people who, tap Tony Khan. Well, no, yeah, like you said, a lot of people are contradicting themselves now, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I mean, just it is what it is. What can we do? Okay, look, let's talk about Ron. So for those who don't know, it's come out recently that there's a burner account that Tony Khan is doing himself. Okay, so this guy's in charge of the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Fulham Football Club in England, AEW Wrestling, a couple other entities here and there, but he has time to sit on social media under a fake account and promote the show and be do all the things that he's doing under this. Your thoughts on Ron?
Um, it's a funny thing because
Ron.
and, and I get it to be have a burner account because no matter what you do under yours, you're going to be criticized for. So, not that I would do it myself,
No,
but I understand why he would do it.
I get
If
it.
you have something you want to get off without overly criticizing everybody, okay, do that. If that's what you choose to do, do it. But
Yeah,
don't get mad when it's getting done to you.
yeah.
That's my whole thing.
Yeah. So Tony, I mean, he says all these things and stuff, but now we're starting to see the shell cracking a little bit. And we're starting to see a bit more of the real Tony Khan, right? I mean, everyone talks about this, and this, and Tony's great backstage, but there are other guys who give a different story and different perspective. We'll talk about that
Right.
another time because I don't have the facts in front of me, but I have read things and seen things where he's a bit of a bitch. I'm sorry. Like, and I can see it. I can see it on his face. I can see it in some of the interactions that I've seen, just the way he looks kind of perturbed and this and that. Like he is a big baby. I'm gonna say it right now. Like I don't mean that in a negative sense, but you're starting to see like, shells of who his true character is.
I say it like this. Unless we've been in Vince's shoes, Tony's shoes, we can only guess what we would do and
Absolutely.
how we would handle things.
Yeah.
It is an amazing, funny thing to me. Again, as a kid, I used to fantasy book my own promotion.
Sure.
And one thing that I came up with right off the bat, I did not want, and this is just for me now, this tells you how deep I was into this promotion. I didn't want to go with the outcomes. I didn't want to make them because then I would go down these storyline ways.
Yeah.
I wanted, this is crazy. I wanted fairness. So I flipped the coin, and however the coin landed, that's how I take the storyline. Every blue moon, I would not flip it again. I just make it where I wanted it.
Awesome.
But
Awesome.
but the point being, a lot of times we get caught up in what we want versus what's, I hate this term, but what's best for business.
Don't do, but at the end of the day, it's a show, right?
Exactly.
I've emphasized this so much now, boys and girls. I'm going to say it again. It's just a show, right? I mean, let's just keep it. Never forget, we're just watching a program. Okay, these guys go home. They're different people. They don't live the life unless your name is Ric Flair or Bret Hart. Um, you know, those two guys.
Facts there, though you're not lying.
Those two guys live their gimmick.
And
Okay, Ricky
it's
Morton,
hard.
right? It is what it is, right? But
Yeah.
look, staying on the thread of AEW, this is something near and dear to me. Are you ready?
But what hold on. Before we get in that, let's quickly mention this.
Yes, please.
The biggest thing that came out of AEW this week, and somebody mentioned this to me, and I laughed and like you are so right. The chant of the crowd saying "fuck ice." That if even if you're not into politics like that, if you're the look that MJF gave to the camera, that wasn't the character MJF, that was the man MJF, like, oh shit. And it's crazy that chant got more of media media talked about than anything wrestling related. It was amazing. This show I watched, they
Yeah,
never talk about wrestling. They're politics,
yeah,
politics, politics.
yeah,
He brought it up, and I
yeah.
started laughing to myself. I was like, "It's amazing what can happen in the world
No,
if
you're
we
right.
choose, if we choose to use our voices."
Yeah, like look, right now I'd have to say we're not a political show, ladies and gentlemen. But you know, from an outside standpoint, from where I live, man, give me a reason to want to come down there now. Honestly, like like why would I go there? It doesn't make any sense. And you know what sucks is I got my Nexus pass now, so I can get across really easy. But I'm not worried about me getting across or anything, but just seeing what's happening down there, it's really sad. It's really unfortunate. I can't comment on it because I don't have all the entire facts. I can only base it on what I'm seeing and the things
Right,
that I'm hearing. And it's horrible, right? So I'm glad that people in the country are standing up for what they believe in, and I hope this nonsense stops because again, in my opinion, all these ICE people are legitimately the people that were storming your Capitol Hill on January the 6th. Now they've
mm,
just been given badges. That's my take. I don't know. I could be wrong. Like are they giving out badges out of cereal boxes? You know what I mean? To those who don't know, when we were little kids, the greatest joy in the world was buying a box of Fruit Loops, knowing what that toy was at the bottom of the bag. I don't know how
yes,
many times
sir.
in my life I got my ass kicked by my mom because I dumped the whole bowl, the whole bag of cereal in a giant bowl just to get to the toy first. Right. So, and that doesn't
Yeah,
exist anymore. They don't have toys in cereal anymore, man. So that was a selling point, right? Look, at the
exactly.
end of the day, it is what it is. I hope your country figures it out because right now I'm scared for North America. And I say North America on a whole because unfortunately I live above you guys. So if you guys
Yeah,
mess up, we're gonna feel the brunt of it too,
definitely.
right?
But now,
Now let's move
with
on.
that being
Let's move on.
said,
Let's move on. Okay. Bear, I don't really, get involved in stuff like this and whatnot, but there's something that really caught my attention and it involves one little guy. Yeah, I'm saying it. He's a little guy. His name is Ricochet. You know what? I'm gonna start calling him Little Ryback. Okay? Little Ryback, aka Ricochet. Yeah.
woo,
Now you've been in the indie scene for a long time, right?
yeah,
Most of the people there strive for one thing, usually. What's their main goal? What's the one thing they've dreamt about doing and getting to? Can you tell me?
getting to getting to WWE.
Not TNA, not AEW, those are usually the paths that you try to go to get to WWE. The
Yeah,
end game for everybody is WWE if you're a performer.
you
Regardless
want to
of
be
your
on the biggest
opinion,
stage
regardless
around.
of regardless of your opinion, regardless of your thoughts on the company, that's where you want to be. All right. As
The
big as
biggest.
MJF is, he will never get global recognition until he goes to WWE. There's very, very few people who have never gone to WWE and gotten global recognition. And even
Yep.
those that we think might have ended up in WWE at one point. Sting's name got bigger by spending 2 months in WWE than it probably did the whole career. His name reached out to more people than it probably ever did. And I'm not saying that in a bad way or a negative way. That's what WWE does for you. Okay.
Yes, it does.
Like them, dislike them. That's the goal. Now, Ricochet's been going off, or Little Ryback has been going off on a tangent for the last month and a half, complaining about the WWE, how they wrecked his life, how they made him sad, how they did this. Okay, I appreciate that, and I get that, but dude, you were on TV every week. You were involved in storylines every week. I can understand someone like a Rusev being angry like this, sitting in catering all the time. And not having a shot at anything. I can appreciate a Heath Ledger coming out and saying these kind of things. You know, uh, You had every opportunity in the world. You were given every opportunity in the world. And Mr. Ricochet, if it wasn't for Will Ospreay and New Japan, no one would ever know who you are, sir. Okay. Now, the reason I'm angry is because he disrespected someone that I think very, very highly of, former referee, WWE referee Jimmy Korderas. Now, Jimmy has been a part of everything. He's been arm's length of some of the greatest things that have ever happened, or some of the greatest memories that we take away from. He was the referee in the ring when Owen fell. Let's not forget these moments. He was the referee for Edge and Mick Foley at WrestleMania. He was the referee for the Undertaker Edge as well. Okay, so this guy's been in marquee matches. He's been ringside for all the Royal Rumbles for the most part. Okay, up until WrestleMania 28, 29. He's been there for all of it. So when we think about it, we talk about the mid 80s, the rock and wrestling. He was there for all of it. Okay, so Jimmy responded to him. And in regards to some comments that he made about saying that they held Finn Balor back, they held Shinsuke back, they held Apollo Crews back. Well, you know what? All three of those guys are still there. They're not complaining. They've all re-signed. Okay. He's complaining about how he didn't feel he wanted his release, he wanted to be let go. And the stupidest thing he said, in my opinion, they made me intercontinental champion. Oh no. Wow. Okay, so Jimmy pointed out that, hey, listen, you signed a contract, blah blah blah. Nothing bad. Just saying, hey, suck it up. This is what you signed. This is what you did. What bothers me, and I don't want to get into that because I don't have the facts on contracts or anything. Neither one of us do. We only go by what we hear, right?
Exactly.
What bothered me about Ricochet is how he responded to someone much older than him, a longer tenure in this business than he'll ever have, more experience and insight on how the business works and what doesn't work is this man here, Jimmy Korderas. He worked side by side with Vince. He did all these kind of things, and he was completely respectful with his comments. But for Ricochet to call him out and call him a cock-sucking cuck, part of my language, I apologize. Ricochet, you're showing your age. Little Ryback, you're showing your maturity. Little Ryback, shut up. Enough's enough. You weren't happy with your run. You're out of the company. What do you want? You're in TNA now. And where's your management there telling you to, hey, relax? Well, that makes sense because Ron's running the other account. All right. So little Ryback, grow a pair, and never forget when Will Ospreay comes back, you touch his feet and bow your head to him because without him, no one would ever have known who you are, sir. Okay? One match in Japan 10 years ago made you. One match 10 years ago with Will Ospreay is the reason WWE turned their head back and said, oh shit, who's this guy? They brought you in the company and they put a rocket on you. You were speed champion, US champion, tag team champion, intercontinental champion. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. But he pretty much held everything outside of the big belt. On TV every week, even up until the last day you were there, you had TV time. So little Ryback, show some respect to the people who paved the way for you. And that's all I'm going to say.
So I will say this about the whole situation. Something that I had to learn and irritated me that it took me to do something dumb to understand something simple.
Like, dude, sometimes we have to make a bad choice and a mistake in order to learn. And I get that.
Well, it shouldn't have been. I made a comment. I was in this group and I'm not going to go into details, but I made a
You made
comment
a comment.
uh, and the people came at me. The comment didn't hit the way I wanted it to hit, and I got called out for it. And I was mad about it. Then once I sat back and looked at it, I was like, you know what? I was the dummy who said anything. I should have just kept my mouth shut and do what I was doing and not put my business out there. Well, I had to learn, hey, if you make comments on the internet, which we're on, then people have a right to give their opinion back. We don't have to listen to it. We don't have to like it, but people have that right. And for you to uh, be, you could have said your comments differently. You didn't have to be disrespectful. He wasn't disrespectful to you.
No.
But again, that's your choice. That's that's all you. But be careful on what you say and how you do something because like anything else, you burn a bridge, buddy. You never know when you need to go back over it.
Well, dude, I mean, like that's why I'm calling him Little Ryback. Okay, because he is literally going down the path that Ryback has been going down. But now, if you notice, Ryback's money's running out, and he's becoming a little softer, and he's being a bit more complimentary to the WWE.
Of course.
Because once the money starts to run out and everything happens, that's when you're like, oh shit, you're right. Like he said, I can't be burning this bridge. And you see him down there with his little hammer, his ballpoint hammer and nails trying to rebuild something as quick as he can down there,
Well,
shouting baby more, right? Like, look, this is what we're seeing right now, right? Um,
yeah.
Look, very quickly, if I may, I'm just going to read a little bit of this. Is that okay? Do we
Yeah.
have,
Go
okay?
ahead.
So Ricochet says here, people can't handle the truth. They took my love of pro wrestling away. How? I don't know. I'm saying that. I'll never forget how I felt walking into work every week, and that platform was only there to make others look good at my expense. Really, Ricochet, little Ryback? Okay. He goes on to say it was a shit show, and because of that, then they made me IC champion and didn't release me. Oh no. It's like me buying my daughter a Switch too and saying she didn't want it. Wow. That's insane. Okay. Same thing happened to Balor, Shinsuke, and Apollo, and many others. WWE kills legacies and the love of their sport. It's what they do best. I could have argued that a little bit if Vince was still around, because this, like we talked about last week, right? They said, how I've been saying that how much of this has to fall on the talent shoulders that shit's not working,
Yeah.
right? And the other problem we have is Vince comes from the place that we grew up in. Okay. Mental health existed when we were kids, boys and girls, but it wasn't known of the way it is today, where everyone's
Yeah.
using mental health as a crutch and taking away from those who truly do suffer from some ailments. All right. Everyone's depressed today. Everyone's complaining about something. If you can't get the job done, then you say you have ADHD. We live in a world of self-diagnosis. We live in a world of pity. I'm sorry. This is what our world has become. Okay. Jimmy came back and said to him, he stayed 5 years plus and re-signed in 2022. If it was really that miserable, he could have asked for his release. He didn't. Name dropping guys who also chose to stay for years and speaking for them is Bush League. This makes him look bad, not the company he's consistently trashing. Okay. He didn't cuss at anything there. And I don't know this. I'm not going to comment on the comments back and forth, but this is where I took a slight against it when he returned his comments back saying, Jimmy, shut the fuck up, you old ass cock. Now, we all know that Jim Cornette's the cuck in wrestling. Okay.
Fair play. Fair play.
Okay. If we know if someone is a legit cuck, it's JC, right? He's sitting
Yeah.
on the bed, cheeseburger, while he's watching his wife get plowed. Okay, so let's leave that alone. Okay. I'm that guy. I'm that guy. All right. That's the problem I had. Why are you swearing? That just makes me believe that you have nothing to stand on, little Ryback. That makes me believe that you have no truth to what you're saying. Because if you have to revert to swearing at people, that just shows me how weak you are, little Ryback.
It's
I'm Bobby
something that
Sampson, and this is being a public paid announcement.
It's something funny about that because as a teenager going to high school,
Yeah.
I had a teacher. Her name was Miss Washington.
Miss Washington. Ooh,
She was she was old school to her heart.
beautiful. Love
And she tried to get us to understand what it meant to be young men and women. And back then I didn't understand it.
Well, neither we were not supposed to do. There.
Right, right. No, and that's fine. But the one thing this sticks in my mind to this day,
Sure.
and she always said, if you are talking to someone and if you are having to cuss at them, that means you don't have the intelligence to carry a conversation. And
And that's exactly what I've been saying, right? We come from that era and that generation. Bear, you and I don't know how long it lasted in America, but I do recall up until grade two for me, which would have been 1982. Oh, I'm old. Okay, when I was in grade two in 82, I got in trouble and I got the paddle. Okay. I don't think it existed after grade two. I think they abolished the paddle,
right.
but I got my ass beaten by the principal. Okay. Let that sink in, kids. That's how we grew up.
I would even top what you just said. I remember a time where I got in trouble and I was going to get the paddle from the principal.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, they had called my parents, and my father happened to be home. My father came down to the school, and he he didn't like the way the principal was talking to me or to him. He told him just as good as anything, he better watch his mouth and be more respectful. He said, now, if you're gonna paddle my son from doing wrong, that's what you should do because he did wrong. But you are not going to talk to him like that,
Yeah.
and you're not going to talk to me like that.
Yeah. And
Now,
my dad
my
was the same
father,
thing.
my father stood there, watched him paddle me. Now, did I deserve it? Yes, because I broke the rules. It
Sure.
was no problem. But my father, and he could have got me out of that, but he didn't because he wanted me to learn a lesson.
Yeah.
Like you said, then that went away. Now you can't say anything to a child now without getting to a fight with them, their parents, grandparents. And my point to all of this is if you do something, expect retaliation. I mean, if I put my just like we put our opinion out about wrestling all the time. Now, why should I get mad if somebody doesn't agree with me and say ABC? Okay, if I choose to answer that and we go back and forth, that's on me because I continue the that. But sometimes you just have to be quiet, let stuff go. It's not that big a deal. That's Jimmy's opinion. Again, he doesn't know because he wasn't there. Okay, that's great. But why do you have to be so disrespectful to him? He didn't. It'd be
Can
different
I,
if he
I
said
can answer.
something about your family. If he said no, he's just like if it was so bad,
No,
why didn't
because
you leave?
because I can answer this for you, okay? And the reason I can answer it is because one, I don't get into what my day to day is very often. You know what I do for a living,
Yes,
okay? So you know my background and you know the things that I've dealt with and the people I've dealt with and the things that I've dealt with. Okay. Uh we grew up in a time where our parents were old school. Okay. And well, they grew up at a time where they let us know when we were wrong. and they weren't afraid to show us when we were wrong. I don't know how many times in my life I fucked up at a family gathering, and on that drive home, wait till we get home. Wait till we
Mm.
get home. And every light you hoped it turned red. Then you get home and he says, come. Okay. And you will go out of the car. You stay in the car. You just sit there. You just sit there as long as you can.
Praying you could manifest something to
Something will
happen.
change. Something will change. Okay. Now, I don't know about everyone else, but I was given a choice. I'd come in. Do I want the belt, or shall I get together with Big Brother? Big Brother was my Louisville Slugger baseball bat. Now, I'm not condoning any of this, Bear. I'm not condoning it. And I don't wish this on any child. And I'm so blessed that children today don't have to go through the crap that we did.
Right.
Okay, because I'm not going to, sit there and paint the picture. You know it. You already have the picture in your head. We grew up the
Oh
same
yeah.
way in a lot of ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter if I'm in Vancouver and you're in Tennessee or wherever you grew up at the time, right? Like, I mean, the reality of it is our punishments were the same in
Yes,
a lot of
sir.
ways. Okay. But that also made us the men that we are today. Here's the
Yes,
problem. A lot of other kids that grew up the way we did, they became soft as parents because, like we always say, we don't want our kids to deal with the things that we dealt with. And I completely appreciate that. I don't want little Miss, and I'm sure you didn't want your kids to grow up with some of the things that we had to grow up and deal with, correct? But the
exactly.
problem is in that process, they've made this generation of millennials and zillennials completely, completely useless. Okay. These kids today do not put their dishes away. These kids today have no sense or rhyme or reason of economics or anything like that. Okay. Because everything's given to them. They're enabled. And that's the problem with Ricochet. He comes from a generation of enablement. Little Ryback grew up being told, oh, that's okay. This hurts me more than it's going to hurt you, blah, blah, blah. Right?
Yeah.
So, from that perspective, this is where that's coming from because there's been no consequences for any of these kids. Even in the judicial system, if you mess up as a kid, there is no juvie anymore. There is nothing for you. You just get a slap on the wrist and you're put into a program. And that's the problem I feel that we're having right now in the world with this generation of people who don't respect the elders, who don't respect their tones, who don't respect the way they talk. They think they can talk to everyone the way they want to. Ricochet probably grew up telling his mom and dad to F off here and there whenever he felt like it. And his parents were like, oh, that's okay. He's just a kid. Dude, if I, right, or we don't even have to say anything.
The funniest story I ever had, me and my kids, we went to visit my father, and we were all sitting around enjoying our time and just talking. And I think something came across my mind, and I said, Dad, what would you have done if you told me to do something and I told you in a minute? My father looked at me and he said, I would have knocked your damn head off. My kids started laughing because they're like, oh, that's funny. And my father, who is granddad doesn't do anything. Granddad, they saw a look in my father's eyes that they had never seen before. And they like, ooh, granddad's not joking. I'm like, no. It wasn't no talk back. It wasn't no well, I'm gonna do it in a minute. It's no. It was what dad said. It went. And I said, y'all think I'm mean to you. I'm hard on you. Because I tell you to do something that I give you a chance to understand where you're screwing up at, and then you still want to go down that road. Then I show you. It wasn't none of that with dad. And dad, my father looked at them like, I wish I would try to explain to you why I told you to do something.
It
And
makes
that,
me sad though sometimes because when I see my little one, God bless her, I love her to death, right? I don't want anything but happiness for her. But when
of
I
course,
see how my mom interacts with her, and if God bless him, and if he was here with us, how my dad would have interacted with her, I would have been jealous,
Oh yeah,
right? Because I would never have gotten that kind of attention from my parents. But I'm glad I didn't because it made me the man I am today. And I understand that. Do I condone a lot of it? No, I don't. But they didn't know any different people. They
exactly.
didn't. That's what they knew, and that's the tools that they had, and that's just the way we are, the way we are. Okay. So, kids, please just listen to your parents, man, and be respectful. That's all I'm saying. I think this is the biggest thing for me coming out of all of it was the disrespect that he showed someone that I respect a lot. And that's all I have to say about any of that.
I, let me say this,
Yeah,
and
please.
if this somehow gets on Ricochet's radar, man, I'll be the first to say I love what you do. You're very talented and everything. Again, you're a man. You can say what you want, do what you want.
Sure. Absolutely.
That's fine.
Absolutely.
But I would I would ask you, in all sincerity, before you decide to post stuff, take a minute and think about it. And that not just for you, but that's for all of us.
No, I completely agree.
Because I think we go. I'm an emotional person. I'll be the first to say it and admit it. So sometimes when I'm very upset, I have to calm myself down and stay away from things to make things worse.
Hmm.
That's what I would suggest to you.
Yeah.
And again, you're free to do whatever you want. If you want to come on and or send some stuff our way, that's fine. Again,
Love it. Bring it.
you're
Come
your
on the
own
show,
person.
Ricochet. A little right back. We'd love to have you on.
I
Listen,
mean,
here's the thing. I've not tell me, before we end today here, Bear, tell me I didn't take any shots at his career. I didn't take any shots at him in a personal
personally,
way. I
no,
took shots at him for being disrespectful. Okay.
yep,
I'm not taking anything away you've accomplished in the ring, little Rick or little Ryback. Congratulations. You're doing great in TNA or sorry, AEW. You're doing your thing, and that's great. But learn how to respect the people who came before you. That's it. What if he made those kind of comments and said those things to Bret Hart or Ric Flair? I'm just saying, just because he's a
yep.
referee, and let's be completely honest, he was in WWF, WWE longer than Bret was. Okay.
Yep.
All right, Professor. I went on a rant. I showed a little bit of gumption and moxie, right? Yeah, look that up, kids. Right? No one talks about that anymore, right? That comes
I
from
know that's
generation.
right.
Yeah, she. It's curtains for you, she, right? Come on. Go back and watch some of those classic films from the 50s and 60s. I tell you what,
You,
sir. Yes, sir.
yes.
All right, Professor. It is Monday morning. We've said a lot here. We've talked a lot. This week looks great. We got some Elimination Chamber qualifying matches happening on Raw and SmackDown. SmackDown looked great again. Very quickly, the ratings did go up from the week before. I don't know what the ratings from this past Friday are, but they're back, doing it. Kind of sucks because now, if you're in the States, it's moving to sci-fi for the next 2 to 3 weeks because of the Olympic
Yeah.
coverage on USA. So just a reminder to you, if you're looking for SmackDown, it's on sci-fi. For me, it's on Netflix. So I'm not too bothered either way where it shows up. But for you guys down south, that's where it is. So just remember that. This Monday on Raw, we got some qualifying matches and this and this. Um, and that's it. Barry, you got anything?
Uh, only thing is keep your eyes open for Professor Barrett and his journey around the world with independent promotions.
Amazing.
Been very blessed. I've talked to um company over in
Finland?
New Zealand.
Oh, New Zealand, nice.
Um, we'll be doing one. Oh, I did one in Finland.
Yeah,
Um, I've got a ton of different ones. Just check them out.
absolutely.
And again, thank you for supporting Sat and myself. we appreciate it, and we thank you for supporting WSN. So,
Very quickly. Sorry, Barry. Yes, WSN, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful place. Guys, come check it out for everything that you want. You can get everything here. We are the smorgasbord, the grocery store of professional wrestling. If you like studio wrestling, you can get it here. If you like stadium wrestling, you can get it here. If you like the independent scene, you can get it here. I can keep going on and on and on. The shelves are full of anything that you want. You just got to dig in and look for what you like. That's WSN, baby, right there and then. Now, that being said, a big shout out to Joe Monroe and Tanner, because without them, no one would have truly known that we are the greatest minds in professional wrestling. That's all I'm going to say. Go back, check it out. We made Joe leave the studio. He couldn't handle the truth. He couldn't handle the truth. He left his tag team partner hanging by a thread. You know, like, who does that? Who does that, Professor? We knew we were great. I didn't want to prove it. Hey, I didn't want to prove it.
But the only thing I can say is we warned them beforehand.
Like I said, I didn't want to prove it.
I can't help that.
There's a lot of times where you always want to be right. This was one weekend where I didn't want to be right.
I tried to warn them. I tried to.
And they should have known. They should have known.
But hey, that's okay.
When I said vengeance, 2008, it was over.
Sometimes, this is a direct quote from a movie I love. Oh my goodness. Lawrence Fishburne has this quote in not The Matrix, John Wick 3.
Yeah.
He said,
Morpheus,
sometimes you gotta cut a motherfucker.
Sometimes you gotta cut a motherfucker. And if anyone can say anything, it is Lawrence Fishburne. God knows what that man's had to deal with in his life with his kids. Check it out. You know what I mean? But I will
love you, Joe.
No, we love you, Joe. And wherever you may be, whatever rock you're hiding under, brother,
we still love you.
We still love you, and I hope your ball still has air and you bring it back with you so we can all play again. Because you took your ball home, you left your tag team partner hanging. So let's see, man. Joe, we love you, and get healthy, come back so we can kick your ass again. I'm Bobby Sampson. He's the Professor Bear. Yeah, he's all over the world. He's doing his thing. I'm here Monday, we got this Monday. You can catch me Tuesday with Samp and Chance, where we're going to talk more wrestling. Thursday, we got boxing as well. And while I've been recording this, I just saw a knockout that I didn't need to see. So we got a lot to talk about there as we go on. Great fights coming up. Lots of stuff happening in both worlds of professional wrestling and boxing. So make sure to check us out. We are Professor and The Samp. Everyone, have a blessed week and be safe. And go Seahawks, and we'll see you guys next Monday.
They're Professor and The Samp, yes, Professor and The Samp. One's a historian, the other loves to chant. They talk about the fights, all the slams and lights. It's wrestling mayhem day and night. They're Professor and The Samp, yes, Professor and The Samp. Their takes are quite insane, the wrestling world's their game. They break it down.